Hey Ray, it's me. What's up? It's about 5:45 your time on Thursday. You're taking this thing tomorrow. Um, Probably not gonna be around at 8:15 your time, so I'm hooking you up with this little pep talk so you can watch it on YouTube more than once if you want before the real thing. Hey, think of this. Tomorrow is, like we kind of talked about already, it is just a glorified practice. That's all it is. And nothing but good can come out of it, because if you do well, you're done. You don't have to worry about it anymore. You can enjoy Thanksgiving stress-free. You can do whatever. Now, it's off the table. It's out of your face. You don't have to worry about a darn thing about it anymore. But if not, hey, you know what? You can pinpoint some question types that you're like, hey, Zach, I still am not sure of X, or I still need work on these types of problems, or they're like these formulas. I forgot the formula for area of a rectangle or something like that. So remember, have a piece of paper and a pencil nearby, or a pen, not just to do work, okay, do as you're working out the problems, but also to make notes of, okay, I need to hit this topic, I need to hit this topic, I need to go over this topic, okay? Use it like, hey, I'm going to diagnose myself tomorrow. I'm going to see what I need more work on. And you know what, by the way, also kind of make notes on what you're feeling like you're good at. Like, hey, you know what, those exponent types of problems, I think I'm good at those. Hey, you know what, those inequalities, greater than or less than, I think I'm good with those. Slopes of lines, I think I'm really good with those. Because not only does that help you know what you need help with or not need help with, that helps me know, so we can make better use of our time. I think we're making great use of our time already, but we can even improve upon that. If you're comfortable and confident with what you still need more help with than something else, if that makes sense. So, going into a test, like you mentioned yesterday, I asked you, hey Ray, have you ever felt comfortable taking a test? And you said, yeah. When was the last time? Oh, that math test we worked on together like 2-3 weeks ago. Really, why was that? Because I knew the material. And that's a huge point. If you feel like you know something, there's nothing to be afraid of. And that kind of like takes me to my overall point for this pep talk, is that a lot of times, I think I texted your mom this, I think that the mentality of entering a test, entering something you're nervous about, doesn't even have to be school related. Like, you might be taking a trip to the dentist or something like that. You're like, oh man, I hope I don't have any cavities. I don't know. There's a lot of dread sometimes in the unknown. Okay? So, part of what you can do is just say, hey, you know what? I don't know how it's going to turn out. I'm not a prophet. I'm not like a what's the word I'm looking for? Sorry, forgive me. Prognosticator. I'm not. I don't have a crystal ball. I'm not a psychic. There we go. I'm not a psychic. I don't know what's gonna happen. And what a lot of people do, if they got something coming up and they don't know what's gonna happen, is they tend to think on, ooh, the get prepared for the worst side of things, because then, hey, at least you know what, it's dangerous, and it's a human response. It's natural. Hey, we want to protect ourselves. So a lot of people think like, oh man, I better not mess up, because then if I do, and it's natural, but it's also counterproductive. It's not that good of a strategy, because then, I always say, humans, people, UI, everybody we know, we get what we focus on. And how many times have you said to yourself, oh man, I hope I don't mess up on this test, because, oh man, that's going to be real bad. Okay? What are we focusing on there? It's not doing well. It's, I hope I don't do poorly on the test. So you're really focusing on doing poorly. Even though you don't want to, it's what you're focusing on. And if you focus on not doing well, somehow, some way, it's like, I know you don't drive yet, but imagine you're behind the wheel of the car, okay? And you're driving down the road, and you see something off to the left. And you're like, oh wow, what a cool building, that's so cool. And before you know it, your hand is looking out. Well, your hand doesn't look. As you're looking to the left, your hand kind of goes in that direction. Okay. I know I probably looks like I look to the right, but whatever direction I look, because I'm reversed in this camera that I'm looking at. So whichever way you look out of the car, your hand is gonna do that if you're holding on to the wheel. Like if I look this way, it's almost like, wow, that's so cool. And before I know it, the car's going that way. It's kind of an allegory for what happens. We move in the direction that we focus on. So if you bring, not just you, but if anybody brings like scared, nervous energy into a situation, that's how you're going to react. And if you don't focus on being correct, being confident, and say, hey, no matter what, this test, I'm going to go in. And I don't even care if I, like, worst case scenario, who cares if I get everything wrong? Because what's going to come out of that is I'm going to know what I need to work on. And then if I get everything right, I'm going to be done with this. So really, this test is like a win-win. And I think that's a lot more powerful than saying like, oh, I hope I don't mess up. I hope I don't mess up. Because a lot of what happens too, at least with me, I'll use myself as an example. A lot of what happens too is when I was in college even, forget high school, forget 8th grade, when I was in college, I'd say like, oh man, I need to get this grade in this test. And if I don't, oh man, that means I'm not going to get a good enough grade in this class. But I wouldn't just stop there. I would say, oh man, but what does that mean? If I don't get a good enough grade in this class, that means my GPA is going to be really bad. And I wouldn't stop there. I'd say, but what if my GPA is really bad? Oh no, that means maybe when I get out, I mean, my people I work for are going to be like, ooh, what's your problem? And then no one's going to want to work with me. And then if no one's going to work with me, I'm not going to make any money. And then if I don't make any money, be homeless. So, I mean, gotta sneeze. I'm going to pause the video. Okay, I'm back. Just sneezed. So one test, if I'm nervous about one test, what that would actually lead to is, oh my gosh, if I do poorly on this test, I'll become homeless. And I mean, what is a test really? What actually physically is a test? Okay, most times it's a piece of paper with black ink on it. So what's there to be afraid of that? I mean, what I tell my students sometimes is, hey, is that paper going to come alive and start eating your face up? No, it's ink on a page. That's all test is. It's usually what the test leads to that we're really afraid of. But it doesn't have to lead to that, because you could get anything on a test. You could get a 0%, you could get a 100%, you could get anything in between there. So why would you focus on, oh man, what if I get the worst possible grade? That'd be like me saying, and I know this is it's kind of like an extreme example, but it's one I always use because when I'm in town, I like to drive everywhere to help people out. So that'd be like me saying, what if when I get in this car and go to help Rhea out, oh man, I collide with this like huge truck. I get in a real bad car accident. What if that happens? I mean, could it happen? Sure, it could happen. But why would I focus on that? Why would I focus on that? Because it does me no good to focus on that. I usually take the mentality of, when I get to Rhea's house, I'm going to focus on exponents. I'm going to focus on, areas of triangles. I'm going to focus on the distance formula. It's not an if, it's a when. Okay? So, what I relate that to with tests is, don't think about, oh man, if I mess. I start to say, you know what? Every test is a chance to get a 100. Every test is a chance to do well or get an A. I know this test doesn't have A, B, C, D, F, but every test is a chance to do well. Just like it's a chance to do pretty good, it's a chance to do pretty bad, it's a chance to do okay, it's a chance to do real it's a chance to do. So I say, take any test as an opportunity to succeed. Okay? That's what a test really is. It's an opportunity to show that you know what's up. Now, how to do that is, you don't just go in and say, hey, I'm going to be confident about it. Because if you're not sure of some formulas, or you haven't studied the material enough, you might have studied, but you yourself, and only you yourself, for your tests, just like only I for my tests, would know, how much I've studied and how much I really do know. Okay? So there's two keys. First is, how much work have you physically done to prepare? Okay? There's a point at which you'll know that you've prepared enough. And that's when you're like, I'm sick of studying. I can't learn anymore. I know everything I'm going to know. Either I know it or I don't, but I have reached my limit as to how much I've studied. Okay? So that's step one. For any test, get to that point. Because once you've gotten to that point, like your previous math test, which, by the way, you got 100 on, once you get to that point, you're done studying. It serves you no purpose because you know the stuff. So then at that point, and in my opinion, that first part, it's like the foundational. Pretend you're building a house. That's the foundation of the house, but it's a quarter of it, because it's like a quarter of the house that you don't see. Okay? And it's below the ground. It solidifies everything above it. Okay? That once you do that, then you say, all right, well, I've studied enough. I know that material as well as I can know it. So now I'm just going to focus on it not being the worst possible thing ever. I'm going to focus on it being the best possible outcome. When I get that test, I'm going to do well. How can I not? How can I do anything except do well? Because I know this material frontwards, backwards, inside out, everything. Honestly, that is the key to success on any test. It is studying the material to the point where you know everything as well as you can know it. And then from there, mentality-wise, you're just saying, hey, look, I don't know what they could ask me except something that I know. I just know the stuff. And then that's where the confidence comes from. Okay? So remember, that's the whole mentality part. And I can make this like a 2-hour-long video, but I'm condensing it down to like 12, 13 minutes just so you can watch it in, all in one sitting. You're not bored with me yapping over here, and it can go well for tomorrow. But you can always rewatch this video, okay? Because this, I think, will help you out a great deal, and I'll tell you more in person when I'm back. But remember this. It's all about mentality and how you get the proper mentality, which is, hey, not if this goes well, but when this goes well tomorrow, or when I do well on this test, okay? When that happens. And how you get there in that mentality, rather than, oh man, what if this doesn't go well, is you study the material enough. Okay, you get to that point where it can be nothing except a positive experience for you. Okay, and that's really it. Because, like I said, you yourself know if you've studied enough or not. Now, going forward, you're taking another one in December. Okay, unless you knock this out of the park, which can easily happen because you've done a lot of hard work. But only you know if you've done enough work. And if you have not, be honest with yourself and say, look, I know I need to do more work. Now, I know that it's hard to do work because it's work. And usually work is not fun because there's a negative connotation with work. It's like, oh, I don't want to do any of this work because work isn't fun. But if you focus on, hey, not the work itself, but what does me doing this work mean? What is this going to lead to? Okay? If you focus on the destination and not the journey to get there, like, oh man, I want to be like the best dancer in the world. Let's say, because I know you love dancing, right? If you focus on just, hey, what do I want to end up as? Rather than, oh man, that means I have to put in hours and hours of work and hours of this and practicing and getting up. You're never going to want to do 1 ounce of work. So my key is get what you focus on. That means you got to focus on what's good, the end result. Focus on your goal rather than the hard work required to get there, because everything in life that you want is going to require some hard work to get there. And if you never focus on the goal itself, like, why am I doing this? This is for that grade. This is for that ranking of number 1. You'll never do it. So the overall underlying theme is we get what we focus on. So make sure you're focusing on the right thing. And if you're saying, hey, I'm going to focus on doing well on this, on getting a good grade on any test, the key is, how do I do it? That just means I got to prepare my butt off. I got to study, or I got to practice, just like with anything. And then, once it works, and once you've studied and practiced a lot, and you notice, hey, wait,